Hi guys, it's Ryland. Today I'm going to talk about our inner world, finally. This is going to be a two-part video. The first part will be just describing what the inner world looks like, and the second part will be answering your questions about it, because you guys have left so many comments asking questions about the inner world, and I have waited, to answer them until I make this inner world video, but there's so many other comments that I've lost all the inner world ones in the mix. For those of you who had questions about the inner world, please leave them in the comments of this specific video and I will answer them in the next part of the inner world video. For now, I will be explaining what parts of the inner world are and what their functions are, what they look like, etc. The inner world sort of has 9 parts. There's the headspace first of all. I will explain the headspace. The headspace is where we all hang out. It's very clean looking, very white, sort of like a hospital looks. It has tables that we all sit at, like a big open, very big open area. And then there are rooms. Well, on the side near the back there is the littles' playroom where they can play, and only the littles and middles can get in there, because that way if there's an altar that they're afraid of, they don't feel safe around, they can separate themselves from that. The same goes for the littles' rooms. Only the littles and their parents can tuck them in their bedrooms. So the littles have a shared bedroom. All the littles sleep in one bedroom and it's at the back. Double doors that lead out of the headspace to the rest of the inner world. If you're facing the double doors, then on the left is the boys' room. It's very large, stretches this way, very long, has all the beds for every boy altar except Braybuff. Not the littles, obviously, the littles have their own beds. So mine, Jake, Danny and Fabian and Cap have our beds in there. Then next to that is Braybuff's room. He has his own room because he likes his privacy, doesn't like to share a room with others, very particular about that, wants to keep his space in a certain way, doesn't want other people having any control over how his space is. The girls' room it's on the right but in the back, like on the back wall. The left on the back wall is the littles' room, the right on the back wall is the girls' room. So that consists of all the girl altars, including the middles but not the littles. So middles are Angel, Honesty and Rowan. Honesty's bed might disappear from the girls' room when it will when she integrates. If she integrates, it will be gone. Sorry. On the right side, there is sort of a, you know how sometimes a room, instead of being built into the wall, it comes off a little from the wall and is like a box attached to the wall? That's what isolation looks like. Isolation is a room that's attached to the right wall and comes out from it, and it's a dark room. You can turn lights on, but it's generally a dark but not like pitch black room where you go if you are suicidal. If multiple altars are suicidal, then that's when we would go to hospital. But if only one altar is suicidal, they can go to isolation, so that we don't have to worry about that. And then you get towards the back. Before you get all the way to the back wall, there is another sort of half wall that it comes here and then it goes back more, the rest of the back wall. The half wall is the start of the dark hallway. I talked about it in the generations video. That is where every generation 3 altar came from. So right now it is mostly abandoned. The only person in the hallway is Catherine. So yes, Catherine does not sleep with the other girls. She has her own room at the back of the dark hallway. It's like a 10-minute walk to Catherine's room. There are tons of doors that are empty right now. There's a spiral staircase on the right side of the back, and it leads up to a loft sort of thing. This is where Samantha used to live. Samantha's been integrated for a while, but Samantha was the one who actually created the headspace. She was in her 50s, she didn't come out, she was a sort of gatekeeper, so she decided who came out when. So she would sit up in her loft, and when somebody wanted to come out, they had to go up the spiral staircase into the loft and ask her permission. Layer 2, okay. Layer 2, you do not have to go through the double doors or the keypad to get to. That's the only other part of the inner world you don't have to do that. And only certain altars can access Layer 2. Those altars right now are Angel and April Rose. Those are the only ones who can access Layer 2. In Otherville. Otherville is like this world, like the outer world, but not. Like, it's basically just a group of towns, and some altars have memories of living there before they were in the headspace, before the headspace existed, before Samantha built it. Some altars have memories of that. Now, there are a couple of Generation 1 altars who have memory of lives in Otherville. Those are Danny and Jake. Those are the only two Generation 1 altars who have memories of lives in Otherville. Now, as far as I know, 0 Generation 2 altars have lives in Otherville. 0 Generation 3 altars had lives in Otherville because they spent their entire lives in the hallway. So every Generation 4 altar has a memory of a past life, basically, in Otherville. They had families there. Cap sort of still has a life in Otherville that he visits sometimes. I'll have Danny and Jake talk about that a bit because they will be able to explain it better than I will, because I've never had a life there. But Danny and Jake have. Generation 5 also had lives there, I think. Damsel and Dare, they have had lives there, but they don't remember it well. And Michael had a life there, but it was like a long time ago, like in the 1960s or something weird like that. And then obviously Null and Catherine didn't have past lives. So anyway. Okay, so Ryland asked me to explain a little bit about Otherville. So basically, before the headspace existed, whenever I wasn't out, I was in Otherville. I had a family there, I had a dad, a mom, that's it. I was an only child. Danny lived there, he had a sister. Me and Danny were best friends since we were 7. That's what Otherville was. I guess when I wasn't in Otherville, when I was out in the body, when I was little, I just accepted it, but I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, I thought that I was dreaming, or that I didn't know how I went to these other places. Like, I went to Dream World, or I went to this other place where everything was super, super intense and physical and awful, because every time that I was out was when something traumatic was happening for a very long time. So there was this place, this dream world, where everything was amazing and beautiful, and there's this place, the outer world, the physical world, where everything was intense and painful and scary and awful. And I didn't know how I got to either of them. And yeah, that's what Otherville is and was for me when I was young, so. Before the headspace existed, if you were not out, for the most part, you were unconscious. You were in darkness, there was nothing. But for some altars, there was Otherville. Those altars were only Jake and Danny at the time, because those are the only ones who existed before the headspace was created, who also were in Otherville. And also Makani and Braybuff had their own realm, which I guess I'll go to next. Makani and Braybuff's realm was Akaria. It's called that because their last name is Akari. Makani Akari and Braybuff Akari. So they have this realm Akaria, which is where they were whenever they were not out. That's where they're from, I guess. In Akaria, from what I've heard, because I've never been there is like sort of a split. One half of Akaria rains very frequently because Makani loves rain. One half never ever rains. Things still flourish there, but it doesn't rain because Braybuff hates the rain. And then sort of in the middle, there is a big cave where there are loads of spiders and cats, because Makani loves spiders and Braybuff loves cats. I don't know really anything else about Akaria because I've never been there myself. So, next realm is DW, or Dream World. Dream World, I've only been to twice, but it is my favourite. Dream World is this big, beautiful, sort of village-looking place. It has, in the centre of it, it's like cobblestone, and in the centre there is this big white water fountain that's just beautiful, and these benches around, and it's beautiful. But in Dream World, there is magic. People who go there, like, not everybody can do magic there. Like, I've only been there twice, so I can't. But people who go there frequently can do magic. Like, they have what is called a power trait. The majority of people there have one power trait, and they get it once they turn 13 or 14 or something. They get assigned their power trait. Maybe like 20% of people have 2 power traits. Fourth realm, it's called the Bay. Evie created the Bay. I've only been there once. And the Bay is this beautiful beach by the ocean, and it's perpetually sunset there. It's always, well, I guess it goes, it's either always sundown or sun up, like dawn or dusk, always, like right when the sun is going down or right when it's coming up. It's always very dim and beautiful. And there's this little cabin. I'm not allowed in the cabin. Only Evie has access to the cabin. I think she could let me in if she wanted to, but she doesn't really want to do that. And I know from Evie that in the cabin there are these pictures, like photographs, hanging around of things that have happened to us in our lives. Good memories, good things that have happened. And if she touches one, she basically has a flashback of those memories, but they are not like regular flashbacks because they're of happy times. So that's what the Bay is. The 5th realm is Haven. Haven is something that Jen created. Jen is our old caretaker / joy giver. She did both. She created Haven, which is basically our safe place. Okay, there's this huge canyon, right? We are on one end of it. At the opposite end of it, there is a like rushing waterfall that's going down these like crystal rocks, right? And on the end that we're on, it's all grassy, and there is a weeping willow tree, but it has like laced in its branches these like golden honey smelling flowers, and there's always a light breeze, so it blows the flowers to the air and makes them smell good. And it's always nighttime, sort of like purpley sky and shooting stars all over the place. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful place ever. And there are like these nightingales in the distance singing. It's amazing. That's where we go when we are afraid, especially little alters during flashbacks or right after flashbacks. They go there often, and someone will sing to them, comfort them, maybe their parents, the mum or dad, or maybe a caretaker. That is Haven. Those are the 5 realms. The other 2 places in the inner world are Headquarters and Integration Chambers. Now those are 2 places that are not really places that you go for fun or for any kind of purpose other than like one specific purpose. Oh, I forgot to mention what the keypad is for. The keypad, if you don't type in a number, you go automatically to Otherville. But if you want to go to another realm, you have to type in the code for that realm. So, for example, the code for Haven is all 0s, 4 zeros, and then you go to Haven. Things like that. Nobody knows the code for Headquarters except Null, and it is extremely long. It's like 20 numbers or something. So you go to Headquarters. All I know is that it has loads of computers, and that like that's where Null keeps all the memories. Actually, I don't even know that it has loads of computers. That's just how I've always pictured it. So I don't know what it looks like at all. I just picture it with loads of computers. But that's where Null keeps the memories, the bad memories mainly. But he has access to every memory that we've had. That, you know, each alter has their own memories, whole different traumatic memories. Null has access to all of them. And he can let us remember things at different times if he wants to, or he can keep them from us. And then Integration Chambers. Integration Chambers is where you go if you are ready to integrate, or think you're ready to integrate. It is a small, dimly lit room with a door at the back. There's a door, and you open the door, try to go through. If you're not ready, it's like there's a force field, like a barrier there. You can't go through, and if you are ready, then you're let through and you are integrated, and then your bed disappears from the headspace and you're gone. If not, then you go back to the headspace, or you wait there until it lets you through, I guess. So that is what our inner world looks like. That is what its functions are. That is the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, please, so I can make the next part of this video answering those questions. And thank you all for watching. Bye.